Okay, so on the ego. Ego is used out of context. In general, day-to-day conversation, the ego is generally used in these ways. I have a big ego. He has a big ego. I have to keep my ego balanced. That's not something I hear often. I don't think I've ever heard anybody use that term. But it's always referred to someone else's ego. I've never really heard of someone telling me, oh, my ego is a problem, or my ego is too big. And it's always used in the context of describing another person. But what does ego really mean? The word ego derives from the Latin I. So the ego is essentially the I. Broadly refers to the self or your conscious identity. So by stating that he has a big ego, she has a healthy ego, keeping my ego in check or keeping my ego balanced, it means the same. It is a sense of the I, one associates with oneself or how others perceive you. Now, what many may not know is that the users mostly this misuse of the word ego, as is found in our modern vernacular, is really grounded in the works of Freud. Many has heard of Freud and Jung, psychotherapists and psychoanalysts, respectively, as a professions. And I'm not going to. This is not a Freudian discourse or a Jungian discourse. It's merely to highlight how the word ego has arrived into our day-to-day conversation, and how over time it's been misused, or it's misused today. Ego, I think, is used quite frequently, but without a thought of what the word actually means. Now, ego is very important in this story of Buddhism, because the Buddha identified this, let's call it the phenomena, called the I, the identity, your conscious identity. This was identified as a problem 2,500 to 2,600 years ago. It's also the self, as I mentioned, and it's essentially the reason for dukkha. It's the central problem in the dukkha. So I just wanted to also clarify something. When non-Buddhists see a Buddhist bow down before a Buddhist statue, it's seen as praising the statue without really digging deep into fully understanding what it actually means by the act of bowing down before the statue. That's certainly what I thought. I initially thought, oh, they're praising a Buddha statue. But it's not that. But I'm also not going to go into the real reasons for it. That's a conversation for another day for anyone that is interested. The Buddha actually saw himself not as a deity, someone to be praised. His only interest was that in the realization that everything is dukkha, which is considered a disease, it was only considering that everything, that the realization that everything is dukkha, the disease, and the cessation of dukkha, the diagnosis. That was his only concern. He had no concern for being praised or being worshipped as a god, because by no means was he a god. He essentially was a teacher. He taught the Dharma, but his only concern was dukkha and the cessation of dukkha. So I'm going to read an extract from a book. The book is called What the Buddha Taught. So in this book, the author states, one physician may gravely exaggerate an illness and give up hope altogether. Another may ignorantly declare that there is no illness and that no treatment is necessary, thus deceiving the patient with a false conclusion. You may call the first one pessimistic and the second optimistic. Both are equally dangerous. But the third physician diagnoses the symptoms correctly, understands the cause and the nature of illness, sees clearly that it can be cured, and courageously administers a course of treatment, thus saving his patient. The Buddha is like the last physician. Okay, this brings me to the end of my discussion on Buddhism, the Four Noble Truths, some foundational commentary. There's more to it than that, but I've just extracted the basis or the basics as it relates to my condition and how it could potentially help others.
You understand? Very dirty and smelly, not so good. Okay? I will tell you about the Four Noble Truth. Dirt, this dirty, is not my jacket. The dirt is something temporal. It came because I sweat, because I go around. I eat pizza, spaghetti, comes here. You understand? So it's not jacket. Okay? Jacket by nature is pure. No dirt. When I buy this jacket from the shop, it doesn't come with the dirt. You understand? That's one truth. You understand? Second truth is, yeah, but there is dirt. You understand? That's the second truth. You understand? The third truth is there's a cause of this dirt. Cause. What is the cause? Not eat properly, spaghetti, like this, walk, swimming, what else? Sweat. That's the cause. 3. Now, washing machine, soap, I can wash. That's the fourth truth. Is that good?